Hello and welcome to today's episode of Stand Up. Joining me at about 33 minutes in, I've got Rod and Karen from the Black Guy Who Tips podcast. We had a great first conversation. I'm very much looking forward to them joining me and JL Covan at PodJam 3 in Las Vegas, April 9th through 12th, which I know several of you have already started making plans for. Got your tickets. There's a link in today's and every day's show notes to find out more. Get your tickets now. I think you'll love my conversation with Rod and Karen, but I do have some headlines and clips for you, or what I call the shit show, coming up. But first, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting me with a subscription. If you've been with from the start, that's amazing. If you just joined, welcome to our community. I think I might host a hangout on Friday night. Remains to be seen, but hope to see you then. I highly recommend that you host something yourselves if you'd like to, especially those of you who might be alone on Christmas. Maybe share the details in Discord. I heard some of you already are. But it is Tuesday today. Christmas is Thursday. That means tomorrow's Christmas Eve. So if that's something you are celebrating with others, I hope it goes wonderful and safe and fun. But if you're alone, like I said, I hope you find joy in meeting and fun as well. And if you're not celebrating the holiday, I hope you enjoy the general sense that things slow down in the world for a minute, or whatever else the day brings you. And Taint Week is right behind it. I will be posting intermittently this week and next week. I make no commitments to posting show or any content, but I also probably will, you know me. I'm planning to talk to a few people live on YouTube and Substack today, so look for those. Maybe not. We'll see who comes through. And thank you to everybody who sent me nice thoughts knowing I was taking my girls away for the weekend in Vermont this past weekend. By the way, as you may or may not know, for my 50th birthday, which took place on Halloween, the girls rented a cute log cabin for us, and I believe it was built by the Amish, by the way. I said that somewhere. And it was in North Shrewsbury, Vermont, so that we could ski the beast, as it's called. That's Killington Mountain. We did that on Saturday, and it was one of those days to remember for sure. I was worried it was going to be a sheet of ice because of all the rain the day before and cold temperatures immediately following. But guess what? The snow was pretty darn good. The lines weren't too long. The sun came out, and we all skied great. Nobody had any issues or injuries. We made memories, but most importantly, had a great time together. And I should mention, I skied very good. People were shouting down from the chairlifts, wow, I've never seen anybody ski that good. So I thought that was really nice of those folks. The next day, we woke up, and the conditions didn't look as good. So we just decided to stay in the cabin together, and Julie and I read our books all day, and Ava spent the day painting another masterpiece, this time a present for her boyfriend and his family, who she's going to be visiting in Paris next week because her boyfriend lives in the U.S. and New York, but he's home with his family because he's French in Paris, and they decided to fly her there. Pretty serious, very excited for her. So, but while we didn't ski, it was really a wonderful day. At first, I was feeling kind of guilty that we weren't on the mountain having fun, like that was the plan again. But then I realized as long as we were together, I was happy. I was sharing this personal thought, as I do most days, with my good best friend, David Campbell, who lives in Sydney, Australia. We talk almost every day on the Marco Polo app. I highly recommend it, especially for men, to stay in touch and to talk and to listen in the way that men sometimes do. I'm generalizing, but it certainly helps us. Anyway, he had just given an amazing performance, by the way, for the celebration of life and victims' families of that horrific terrorist shooting in Bondi Beach outside Sydney, Australia. And it's a really great performance. Probably, I think, the only Goy who was asked to perform. He's a very well-known musician, singer in Australia. So I had told him about the day with my girls doing nothing and feeling a little bit guilty that we weren't skiing. And he made the great point that proximity is what's most important. At this point, and really always at any age with your kids, being with them is what matters. But with the girls being 18 and Julia's 18, Ava is just weeks from 21, time together like that is rare, and it should be cherished. So I just want to also mention the book that I was reading, classic one. Most important, Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. Of course, it's riveted generations of readers with descriptions of life in the Nazi camps and its lessons for spiritual survival. And it's made a huge impact on me. I've always thought he was a really important person to go to and to learn from and read about, but to sit down and read Man's Search for Meaning was as valuable this past weekend, I think, as it ever can be in your life. And by the way, before I start today's show, before I get to headlines and clips, I just want to play a clip of Viktor Frankl, who died in 1997, being interviewed and asked a very important question. I hope his answer means as much to you, especially at the end of the year or this time of year as it did to me, and also thought it would be a great thing to kick off today's show, which is followed by bad news segment, which we do every day. So I like to couch it in the good stuff whenever possible. Here he is.
So your basic philosophy is that life has meaning under all conditions, but how easy is it when there's a sense of hopelessness, a sense of despair, to recognize this meaning?
Let me confront you with a somewhat strange definition of despair. As I'm used to proclaiming is that despair can be explained in terms of a mathematical equation. D, capital D, equals S minus M. What does it mean? Despair is suffering without meaning. As long as an individual cannot see any meaning in his or her despair, he or she will certainly be prone to, in its suffering, I wanted to say, no meaning in the suffering. He or she will certainly be prone to despair and, under certain conditions, to suicide. But at the moment they can see a meaning in their suffering, they can mold it into an achievement, they can mold their predicament into an accomplishment on the human level. They can turn their tragedies into a personal triumph. But they must know for what. What should I do with it? But if people, like so many segments of present-day society and population, cannot find any meaning whatsoever in their lives, cannot see anything meaningful, they more often than not have something to live by, or say at least enough to live by. They cannot see anything to live for.
What is the answer to the question, why me? Why did this happen to me?
The answer to such a question is nothing that a psychiatrist or any other type of a scientist can come up. But I would not share the opinion of, say, Jean-Paul Sartre, who said we have to accept and to shoulder courageously, heroically, the absolute meaninglessness of our lives. But what I think is rather that what we have to accept is the incapacity of our humanness, the incapacity to recognize the ultimate meaning in intellectual or merely rational terms. This is the only thing we have to accept. But still, we may believe in ultimate meaning, but to lead someone, say a patient, to eat the way for him to such a belief, to faith, is of course not the business or job to be carried out by a psychiatrist, but rather by a theologian.
Yes, indeed. Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. I highly recommend you go to the library and get it out today, or more importantly, buy 10 copies, one for yourself and another 9 for other people that you think need that book at any point in their life. It is worth a reminder. Having purpose means so much, and answering the questions that he does and did, I think, is so crucial for all of us. So it is very, very important gift to learn from anyone who has gone through what he did, other folks, human beings who went through the Holocaust, genocide, or any other horrific experience. For those of you that are really suffering for any reason or another, I highly recommend Man's Search for Meaning, in addition to all of the other literature that has helped me so much, like Pema Chodron's Taking the Leap and When Things Fall Apart, and so much more. All right. Well, I thought that would be a good way to start today. I hope that you appreciated it. Now it's time to get to the headlines from the last day or so.
It's Pete's Headlines and Clip Show. Get in on the shit show.
Wanted to start with this major news that you may or may not have heard, but yesterday, the Lion King who does not like wind farms, never has, thinks they're ugly, thinks they're inefficient and expensive. Years ago, failed to stop the construction of one that's visible from one of his stupid golf courses in Scotland. He was really upset about it. Told a Scottish politician on Twitter in 2014 that the windmill hovering over Hole 14 is disgusting and inappropriate. Well, also on his first day in office, he stopped the new wind projects on public lands and waters. A judge called that order arbitrary, said it violated federal law. Still, the Ayatollah Khomeini persevered. And yesterday, the administration or regime said it would halt leases for 5 wind farms under construction off the East Coast, virtually gutting the offshore wind industry in the United States. The projects were expected to power more than 2.5 million homes and businesses, and his Secretary of Interior, a sycophant named Doug Burnham, said the decision addresses an emergency national security crisis, including the rapid evolution of the relevant adversary technologies and the vulnerabilities created by large-scale offshore wind projects with proximity near our East Coast population centers. What evidence is it based on? None. It's been fact-checked over and over. The rationales have all been given fair consideration, and there isn't any. It's crazy. It's bad. And what does it mean for the jobs on those wind farms? And what does it mean for the energy reduction that they were already offering? It is a terrible thing for the economy. It's a terrible thing for the environment. It's a terrible thing for energy prices, which again is the economy. And we'll see what courts have to say about it. But I do want to mention that as what I think is probably one of the top headlines for today that might be getting undercovered as a result of some of these other things I'm about to share with you. But I want to make sure that I mention that here at the top. I'll follow it real closely, and I hope that you will as well. And all their other news. Yesterday, Uncle Scam announced a new class of Navy warships that would be named for who? Guess who? Himself. CBS, of course, is in turmoil, and as predicted, is turning into the Fox News of network news. And its top editor, Barry Weiss, pulled this 60-minute segment. She is being absolutely destroyed, as she should be, her reputation in every way, as is the amazing reputation of the old CBS News. Probably familiar with something about that story. Maybe not this one, though. Jim Beam shutting down its main distillery for all of next year because the whiskey market is struggling, in no part because of Jabba the Pizza Hut's trade war and the fact that there's now a boycott from Canadians who bought, I think, most of that whiskey. Also yesterday, King Hungry VIII appointed a special envoy to Greenland, part of his efforts to take over the Danish territory. Officials in Denmark and Greenland were furious. He keeps talking about wanting to take Greenland. It's crazy, absolutely crazy, and so transparently stupid and illegal. El Porco Chapo also ordered nearly 30 ambassadors to leave their posts by mid-January. The union representing career diplomats said such a mass recall has never happened before. This seems like decent news from his FDA, though. They approved a pill version of the injectable weight loss drug Wegovy. I think any FDA probably would have approved that, so it's maybe not that controversial, but I think it sounds like good news. Here's bad news. Around 50 Planned Parenthood locations shut down this year, largely as a result of Republican efforts. The New York Times has a pretty good roundup of that, has done some pretty good journalism on it. A judge ruled that the administration must either bring back a group of Venezuelans who've been deported to that notorious prison in El Salvador, or let them challenge their deportations in the U.S. That's good news. The billionaire father of Paramount's chief executive, that's right, the chief executive of Paramount is a Nepo baby, probably doesn't deserve to be there. Well, definitely doesn't. Larry Ellison, he made a personal guarantee to provide the roughly $40 billion in equity that Paramount is offering its bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. That is a major story that's going to continue to develop early into next year, and it matters so much. How much of media can MAGA buy, and will it last? The U.S. Army, for years, put inexperienced pilots in aging helicopters and flew them over the nation's capital, according to a New York Times investigation. The Kremlin on Sunday appeared to temper enthusiasm on the results of several days of peace talks in Miami, where American representatives met separately with Russian and Ukrainian officials in the latest round of negotiations aimed at ending Russia's war with Ukraine. In Syria, the regime hours launched major airstrikes on ISIS talks in Syria late Friday in what DUI Defense Secretary and man who all women hate, Pete Hegseth, described as vengeance for the killing of 3 Americans by an ISIS gunman last week. Apparently, the White House executive order on state-based AI policies has been widely ignored. The governor of New York, my governor, Kathy Hochul, on Friday signed into a new bill that aimed at regulating AI, artificial intelligence companies, and requiring them to write, publish, and follow safety plans. How about that? States are taking charge, at least Democratic states are, for what the federal government is shirking in its duties. TikTok's chief executive told employees last week that the company had signed agreements with 3 major new investors to help form an American version of TikTok, bringing it one step closer to completing the deal to keep the app operating in the U.S., and I think those are all the headlines that I decided to gather for you today. Let's get into some of the other clips that I grabbed, starting with Senator Chris Murphy, who made this video, which I thought was very informative and helpful from, it looks like his backyard in Connecticut. Here he is, the senator from Connecticut, Chris Murphy.
And I know everybody's getting ready for Christmas, but I wanted to just draw your attention to something that's happened in the last 24 hours that really matters. You might have heard that 60 Minutes pulled a segment last night at the last minute that would have been really embarrassing for the Trump administration. It was exposing these brutal conditions at a notorious El Salvadorian prison, a prison that Trump is moving migrants to. The point is the cruelty and the inhumanity. And it was going to be embarrassing because whether or not these people, had a right to enter the United States or not, no human should be treated under these kind of awful, diabolical conditions. And the segment didn't air. And the segment didn't air because Trump has effectively taken editorial control of CBS. What happened a few months ago is that CBS's parent company got bought. It got bought in a sale in which Trump basically said to the company that was buying it, if you want CBS, you've got to make CBS be more conservative, and you've essentially got to answer to me. That's what happened here. Trump didn't want the story. They wouldn't grant an interview for the story. And so at the very last minute, Bari Weiss, who had been installed as a conservative head of CBS in order to get the merger approved, pulled the segment. And why this matters is because never before have we had a president of the United States with this much editorial control, practical editorial control over American news networks. And why it matters even more is that this company, Skydance, is now in competition to buy Time Warner, which includes CNN. Even if they don't get control of CNN and Netflix instead gets control of CNN, Trump has basically told all these big billion-dollar companies, if you want a merger approved, if you want to take over a news network like CBS or CNN, you can do it, but you have got to give me power over what runs and what doesn't run. This is a big deal. This story being pulled at the last minute off the air, likely just because Donald Trump had objections to it. And it previews what's coming in American media as more and more networks get bought up by these giant billion-dollar corporations that care only about profit and are willing to give Donald Trump editorial control in order for their CEOs and investors to make billions off of these sales. This is how democracy dies. So when you listen to people like me raising these 5-alarm alerts about the state of American democracy, it's because we are watching in real time our ability to get the truth, like the truth about what's happening in this prison in El Salvador, because of the corporate takeover of our media.
If you have a Threads account, I think you should, just to get news and gather news and stuff. I don't want to add to your scrolling, but I do like Threads. I am on Threads, pretty active, got a decent following over there. I'd love to have you follow me. Then that's where you can find that video of Chris Murphy. He probably posted it elsewhere as well, but I highly recommend sharing that. And this, I got 2 clips coming up now of right-wing podcasters who are changing their tune on Trump. It can be no doubt coming up, Andrew Schultz. But first, this is Sean Ryan. He's got a huge podcast. I don't know much about him. I want to learn more about him and maybe listen to his stuff, not to learn anything, but just to hear what he's doing and why there is any appeal. But anyway, he had Hunter Biden on as a guest, and I thought this was really good. Also, Hunter Biden is like a voice twin with his dad, which is not uncommon. I hear my voice with my brother and my dad as well sometimes, but I feel like he sounds just like his dad. But this is just a really important exchange between a Trump-supporting podcaster, one of the biggest, Sean Ryan, and number one, he has on as a guest Hunter Biden, who agrees to go on and to make the points that he does about the whole Epstein thing. I thought this was pretty good.
I think that was.
What do I think that was?
What do you think this whole Epstein debacle was. Do you think this was
I don't even fucking know at this point, and I really mean it. It's like I will tell you is that the only thing that is clear to me is this: Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump, during a period of his life, were fucking thick as thieves, and Donald Trump has tried to pass this off as being what Palm Beach was in the 90s. Okay, and that may be his view of it. But I've seen enough evidence of Donald Trump and his teen modeling agencies and what he said on Howard Stern about how he would go into the back of these, Miss Teen USA pageants and, walk up to the girls naked. They were talking about girls when he's talking about doing that. And wonder whether or not Donald Trump in his mind has come up with this concoction that it was all just what they did in the 90s. It was models. I mean, that's what Michael Wolff says. Michael Wolff says that the justification in Trump's mind is that they were models.
Wow.
They're 14, 15 years old. I mean, we have a president that has been credibly accused by well over a dozen and a half women, if not more, of sexual assault. And we're wondering whether or not, as he fights tooth and nail for the Epstein files that all of his supporters demanded be released so that they could nail Bill Clinton to a cross. And he won't release him. Why? Out of the kindness of his heart for the people that may get hurt? Have you ever known the president to act out of anything but his own self-interest? Ever?
I just love that Sean Ryan right there at the end says no. I've never did the question, have you ever seen this guy act out of anything but his own self-interest? He says no, and then he shakes his head no. I thought that was a great exchange from Hunter Biden, which is honest, and I think diplomatic. He wasn't even that much of a savage. He gave him the benefit of the doubt, but then pointed out all the details around Donald Trump's life, who in 2004 I didn't want to meet because I thought he was a rapist then, and how people have ever supported him was always a huge problem for me, coming up as a New Yorker in media and entertainment and knowing who that guy is. Anyway, I thought that was really very good. And how about this? Another right-wing podcaster. This is Andrew Schultz, the cousin of my old producer, Alfred Schultz. Seriously. Yeah, they're related. Anyway, he is an influential podcaster now and comedian, of course, and they were sitting around questioning all of the pardons of the crimes committed that this guy has given out. Let's listen to that. Schultz reading something from the internet about what is a federal crime.
A federal crime is any act that violates a law passed by the U.S. Congress, typically involving national interests crossing state lines, occurring on federal property or affecting federal agencies, and is prosecuted by the federal government and federal court. Unlike state crimes handled locally, common examples include terrorism, mail fraud, kidnapping across state lines, drug trafficking, counterfeiting, tax evasion, and cyber crimes.
Some stuff you need to get pardoned for, little shit. You know what I mean? You do a little drug trafficking, some tax evasion, some kidnapping, and you need someone to step in and cover you, you know?
Yeah. Let's be honest. This shit is tax evasion. Is this shit? That's what it is, right?
I mean, now probably.
This is like it's white collar shit so you could look after your homies before you get out of office. Because what terrorist is getting, I guess January 6th.
You guys. But they're getting it, and that's what's important. So I wanted to share that with you. Another important thing on right-wing media, Fox News, the most important person over there is Jessica Tarlov, in my opinion, because she does a great job on shows like The Five and others, explaining to Fox News viewers and her co-panelists, sycophant, MAGA people, the truth. And here is some truth spitting by Jessica Tarlov. First, about J.D. Vance's super racist speech at the Turning Point USA conference, where he won the straw poll vote. Everybody loves him because he's in line with the anti-Semites and the white supremacists against those who are Jewish or support Jewish people as human beings. It's so gross, unbelievably gross and overt what is happening, led by people like Nick Fuentes on the right. They're taking over MAGA. There's a huge split. And she mentions, Jessica Tarlov, first J.D. Vance's comments on that and then how the electorate has changed. Here she goes.
and that this is the greatest coalition of supporters. And then also saying in the United States of America, you don't have to apologize for being white anymore, and that we're a Christian nation doesn't feel particularly inviting to me. And also, Kellyanne spoke about the coalition that Trump put together for 2024, and it was a huge achievement. I mean, I sat here and ate proverbial crow for what feels like days, months, years. We're getting there. But today, Donald Trump's approval with Gen Z voters is at 29%, and he's only at 32% with Latino voters. It has completely swung back to the usual levels that we saw in the 2020 election when Joe Biden got 81 million votes. He has a lot of work to do, and you saw that coming to bear also the November 5th elections in like New Jersey and Virginia, right back to where we started. So those voters were on loan for one election. He's going to have to do a lot of work to get them back. Over 10% unemployment rate for Gen Zs right now.
All right. There you go. Jessica Tarlov. Thought that was really good. How about this? This is Lawrence O'Donnell talking to Congressman Ro Khanna about the fate of the Epstein files.
Congressman Khanna, might it come to that? Might it just have to wait for another president and another attorney general to dig into what this corrupt administration has done?
I certainly hope not, because these survivors have already been waiting decades. And I spoke to Bradley Edwards and some of the survivors today. I mean, some of them are prepared to come back to the Capitol and relive the trauma a third time, which will continue to up the pressure. But the one thing I do think a future Democratic administration will do, in addition to releasing whatever wasn't released, is prosecuting people who have violated the law. And people should understand that this is not something that they just comply with Donald Trump's whims or Pam Bondi's whims. They are obstructing justice. If they are releasing names carelessly, that's an obstruction of justice with what the law is. If they are redacting things excessively, they are obstructing justice. If they are hiding documents to protect rich and powerful people, they are obstructing justice. And I certainly believe the next Democratic president should prosecute that.
All right, there you go. There's Ro Khanna on MS Now with Lawrence O'Donnell. Thought that was good. And I think this is good. This is Tim Miller over at The Bulwark doing a great job talking about Elise Stefanik, the Republican congresswoman from the North Country in my state, New York State, who was running for governor. And she has been a loyalist, a sycophant, and super, super awful, bigoted racist when it comes to her Islamophobia and pretty much everything else. And she was going to run for governor. Because she was going to run for Senate, apparently, and the Trump administration said, no, don't do that. We need to stay in the House. We need that House seat. And then she said, well, I'm going to run for governor, but Trump wouldn't support her because he wanted to support some dirtbag in Long Island. And so she decided to resign from Congress. And what does she get? Apparently nothing for all of her loyalty. And always love when that happens, when someone disgraces themselves, covers themselves in excrement, and then gets nothing. Get away, Tim Miller.
I think she thought that she was going to get something out of this shameless self-sacrifice. I don't, of totally giving herself over to Donald Trump. And she gets nothing. And Donald Trump, I think it's just would be worth mentioning that, like, this is the risk that you run when you throw yourself at Donald Trump. I mean, like, sure, a lot of people have gotten a lot out of it, so it's not without potential opportunity. His golf caddy, he's now like one of the most powerful people in the world. So you can get a lot by being, by sucking up to Trump, but also it's a one-way street of loyalty. And you're also, if you're a woman, selling yourself to somebody that is like has no respect for women and is misogynist and wants to like appoint people to his administration based on whether they look the part. And I think that Elise probably harmed herself by hitching her wagon to somebody that was going to only appoint her to high roles if she looked the part. So, I do think that it's a little bit of a morality play. It's a little lesson. No?
Yeah, I think for sure it is for anyone watching. I hope. All right. There you go. Finally, some laughs from J.L. Cauvin. Comedian J.L. Cauvin's impersonation of Trump is better than everybody else's in the world. He's also running for Congress, and he needs to raise more money. He's doing a pretty good job, in my opinion, but he says he needs to raise a lot more so that he can win the special election and compete in the primary in New Jersey, where he's running for Congress. Nobody has more integrity that is running, in my opinion. What do I know? But I know him really well, and he's a great guy. And I love him, and he's smart, and he'd be a fighter. And if you haven't donated to JL yet, please do. JL for NJ.com, I believe, is the website to go to. He continues to crank out the jokes and the comedy as well. You can get a cameo if you want to support him. But here it is, his impersonation of quid pro comb over. Nobody does it better. And the latest reaction to the whole CBS Barry Weiss, CBS, burying that whole story.
So there's been a tremendous amount of nasty complaining. And frankly, the fake news media is upset because they are stupid. Now, the 60 Minutes, which used to be a failing program, and then Barney Weiss took over. She used to be a purple dinosaur, and she was very woke. She talked about sharing. And then she got smart. To be honest, she reminds me of Elise Sloppyneck, who could have been like a Barney Weiss if she had been more smart and strategic about her politics and her career. But Barney Weiss took over CBS News, and she's been doing a tremendous job so far. Very honest. I think people don't need to see the honesty. But she did a story about SeaWorld or the C word or CCOT, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. I'm not familiar with it, but I'm told that it's a place that a very great president in El Salvador called Bukaki has put the worst of the worst. And the only thing I know about it is I remember our great home wrecker of Homeland Security, because she has tremendous affairs, but she's also very talented in terms of photo ops. Kristi Noem, and we call her Garden Gnome because she's always sneaking out of married men's homes and knocking over the garden gnomes, trying to do. It's called discreet. It's called being discreet. It's called having respect for family values. When you sneak out through the garden, you're showing great respect for marriage, okay? Like by not wanting to get caught. Ask Corey Lewandowski, they've been very strong in terms of that. But she was doing a film. I think she was posing for photos. I think it was called MS-1369. I think she was doing a very strong film, catering more towards adults. That's why she was posing with like 100 El Salvador prisoners very strongly, because it sends a very strong message. We have to send message that if you're a bad person, if you try to harm our country, we will send you to the worst place on earth. And I think it's called SeaWorld or something in El Salvador, which is a very rough part of Mexico, by the way. A lot of people think it's the roughest part of Mexico, and Kristi Noem has done a tremendous job. Believe me, most of the men she sees in that prison do not have a happy ending, okay? It's a very sad ending, in fact. So she's great. Barney Weiss, tremendous job stuffing that story in the closet.
Yeah, well done, as always. And now it's time to get to my conversation with today's guest. Thank you for being here, for supporting me. Patreon.com/Pete Dominic. Subscribe on YouTube and Substack right now at Stand Up with Pete to watch these interviews, almost all of them live, including this one. A very special conversation today. First timers on the show. I always love to welcome new people, new folks on the show, but especially these guys from the podcast, The Black Guy Who Tips, Rod and Karen. They are a married couple. They met when they were 16 years old. They have been doing this podcast for years now. It's really great. A lot of folks who listen to my show, listen to their show. Our connection is JL Covan, who has been talking about Rod and Karen for a long time. And I finally connected with them. Finally sat down, had a great conversation. You can watch this on Substack and YouTube. And you should go subscribe to their show, theblackguywhotips.com. And most importantly, we're all going to be together. JL Covan, Rod, Karen, and me, combining our podcast audiences to hang out at PodJam 3 in Las Vegas on April 9th through 12th. And hopefully we'll get some more special guests as well. You can get your tickets now, but very much looking forward to that. TheBlackGuyWhoTips.com. Go check them out. But let's do it right now with a very special conversation with my new friends, Rod and Karen. Yes. Oh, my goodness. Surprise, surprise. Anybody watching live? I have got the notorious Rod and Karen from The Black Guy Who Tips. I've been hearing about them forever from JL. I started listening to them a while back, been meaning to have them on, and now we're all going to have a party in Vegas in April. So we're trying to create synergy and family and chemistry. So thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to Rod and Karen. Everybody, go check out theblackguywhotips.com. Thank you guys for being here. This is exciting.
Thank you.
No
Thank you for
problem.
having us.
Thank you, sweetie.
We're excited as well.
We are.
And yeah, being part of the shared JLCU.
Right? Universe.
I don't know how many of us there are, but I love that we're all in it.
Love JL.
It's just us and another huge supporter who passed away just recently because of the jinx. Yeah. He was a big funder. Big fan, but now it's just us. Now there's dozens, and we're excited to have met through JL, and I'm real excited. Now you guys, though, should be mentioned in case anybody is unfamiliar with you. You are married and have known each other since you're 16, so that is
actually known each other since elementary school.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we started dating at 16,
but we've known each other since we were like children.
Yeah.
And now you talk like identical twins too. You're talking at the same time. Just note everybody that they literally have been together their entire lives. How old are you people now?
47. She's 46.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how have you kept that interesting? Why not, mix it up a little bit, throuple it or take a year off?
I don't know, man. I feel like, that it's like we like each other. We're very lucky to like each other.
Yes, and found each other very early.
We've grown together.
Yeah.
We, went to college together.
Yep.
I don't know, man. Like, I haven't really questioned it in the way that I'm sure we sound weird to everyone else.
Yeah, I know we're a really strange couple.
Everyone else sounds weird to me.
Yes.
It's like, what? You haven't dated 30 people? It's like, why would you do that? That's 30 new people to get to know.
It's a weird kink you guys have being together so long. That is bizarre. I love it. It's sweet. It's wonderful. Like, I guess it's just so, it really is not very common. Even in the olden days, I don't think to meet so young. So, you grew up together where? It says that your bio says you're from the South. That could be anywhere. And I don't know a lot about the South. I have opinions though.
Of course. Everyone does.
Everybody does.
It's the South.
right. It's the South. We're in Charlotte, North Carolina. Roderick was born and raised here, but I've been in Charlotte since I was 9 months old. So you might as well say I'm country because most of my family up north, I was born in Albany, New York. But most of my family up there, they look at me like, you're not from here. I was like, I am not, and I won't claim it.
Yeah, as you can hear, she never lost the Albany accent. So you can, as soon as you hear it, you're like, oh, you from up north.
Sometimes I question Rod because he's like, I don't like sweet tea. I was like, you sure you from the South, boy?
I feel like a lot of what makes you guys so entertaining is that charisma and is the actual quality of your voices. I really like Rod's voice. It's very like kind of laid back and easy to listen to. And obviously Karen, is so animated, and that accent and all of it. It's like you're almost like you're playing characters, but this is really who you two really are.
Yes. Yeah. And people are surprised when they see us in real life. Like our friend Keith, he's seen us in real life, and like I'm a baby, sweetie, honey type of person, and so he didn't believe that's how I really was. So we went out to eat with him, and I speak to everybody like I already know them, and so it's very confusing to people around me. I was like, people like me get your shit for free.
I think the other thing is that it makes it so easy to record as much as we record and do as much as we do, that it's not like a character or an act or like a thing you need to remember. Right. It's just like, this is us. This is how we are. If you see us on the streets, this is how we are. We've recorded with so many people at this point. Like, people are surprised sometimes where they're like, so how do you guys get ready for the show or whatever? And I was like, this is it. We just show up. And then like I remember there was one couple in particular, I won't say any names, but like, before we hit the record button, they were like at each other's throats, and I was like, "Oh shit, are we gonna be able to record?
Right?
Like,
did they fall out?
Are you guys want to do this another time? Because we totally don't have to do this now." And then as soon as we hit record, they were, oh, honey, sweetie. I was like, oh man, good luck.
I love it about you. I'm listening to the show. I think it's a lot of fun. You also go live like 4 or 5 times a week on Crowdcast because you got a sweet Crowdcast deal, which
the thing about that is we've been going live for years. Multiple live things we use are defunct now. Like vocal, we've been doing it we actually been podcasting for like 16 years. So we've been doing this for a very long time.
Yeah. Is it true that once you guys start going live, they usually end up canceling that platform? You guys have killed all of these.
Yeah, we're the ones. Actually, it's when we have JL on. Honestly, it's the secret.
That's when it ends.
Once he's on a few times, it's like, uh-oh, man. Like, I'm looking at StreamYard right now. I'm like, I don't know, man. Pete's had him over here a lot.
I don't know. They might be going down for the count. And talking about the JL Jinx, we had JL come to Charlotte for our live show. And I was determined I was going to fight the JL Jinx, but it won because we recorded the show. And I think it lost the video.
We lost every recording of the show except for one audio recording. And we had multiple backups.
Yes. They all went down.
You can't beat the JL Jinx.
No,
man.
You can't.
Let me get back to the two of you, getting to know you just a little bit. And I want to ask you about some things that are happening in the world. I want to ask you about some of your values. Some of your, some of your ideas that you have about the world. Some of your moral. I want to see the moral clarity that I've gotten to know listening to you guys. But what is the South according to you two? It's not the same thing for everybody, and I don't think of North Carolina so much as the South, but it is the South. And so what's the difference in regionally, or what's your experience been growing up there, and why stay?
For me, I love the South, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Like me personally, I love the South. I think a lot of people have a lot of misconceived notions about the South based off of, for a lot of people, never coming here and just hearing shit. And the things that happen in the South happen all across the country, but people want to be in denial that these things don't exist in other parts of the world. I've been up to Pennsylvania and some of these other places, so I know they wave Confederate flags. They have hoods and things, too, in other parts of the country, which a lot of those people would turn their noses up on the South. And so for me, it's very frustrating when people come and they just say blanketed statements. And I'm like, well, you really don't know. We are actually a better melting pot sometimes in other parts of the country. We don't have Chinatown. We don't have like all these divisions. Like when you go to New York, you go, this is this place. This is where the Jews stay. We don't have that. Like we're forced to meld together.
This is where the Jews stay.
They be like, this Jew town.
Yeah, this Jew
like,
town.
Oh, word.
This
okay. That feels offensive, but if y'all calling it that.
Right. That's how I feel.
Because when I was up there, they was like, this is Chinatown. This is Koreatown.
I was confused.
Karen, I just want you to say a few more ethnicities and then stay to make it a little less edgy. This is where the Jews fine. But left out alone there, I want where the Koreans stay. There's a Koreatown. I know what you're saying, though. The larger point is that we self-segregate a lot in a lot of parts of the country, a lot of cities. But down south, and you could speak to North Carolina, I guess, there's a lot more kind of communities that are much more mixed and less like that.
Well, what happened is because of desegregation, it forced people to
be together.
Regardless
if they want it to be or not.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean that it stays that way. I mean, I still feel like it's pretty divided on like Sundays when people go to church. I feel like people still go to church a lot of times with their own race or whatever, it can. Yeah. So it can still be that way. I think what it feels like to me is like all of America is kind of the South. And one of the things I read about a lot during like the Great Migration is once Black people arrived somewhere with the promise of like a better situation, it was then that places that were like, no, it's not racist here in Chicago. It's like, y'all trying to get jobs? it's racist here in Chicago. You guys got to stop with these jobs. It's enough of that. New York, I remember reading how when the Civil War was going on and black people moved from the South to New York City area, they had to do a draft. And so at the time, the only people that could be drafted were white people because for some reason they were like, we should be the only ones to die. But okay, seems weird flex, but appreciate you.
Right. We'll live a little longer.
And black people wanted to fight, right?
Right.
But
they did.
They had this draft, and in New York City, the white people there, some of them went and attacked the black people who were coming there for safety. And it's like, oh, so it's more like circumstantial. Like it was easier to be pro whatever when it was happening down there in the South.
It was like theory.
Who cares what's going on with those black people in the South, man? You guys are tripping. And then when the black people came up, so it feels like and the last thing I'll say is almost every place you go outside of a city feel like the South.
It does.
Like you can be in New York, drive an hour outside of New York, and you're just looking around like
that's what I've always thought.
What is this?
That growing up in upstate New York, and I grew up technically in Syracuse, but I grew up in farmland around me, kind of school, all white, Christian in the 80s and 90s. The deer season started, half the class was gone. Grew up in the lakes. Grew up boating. I don't know why that's so funny. We grew up boating, but basically it's true what you said.
Wait, why was half the class gone during deer season? To hunt deer, or they were deer? You were going to school with deer.
To hunt deer.
And they were like, let me get out.
Your daddy was like,
I can't be seen here with these humans.
We getting ready to get some deer for the winter.
By the way, I love deer and I'm obsessed with them. Yesterday I was on a run. I exercise a lot, and this deer was like in long, like high weeds, and it stopped, frozen, and like a child playing hide and seek. It was like, if I stop, he won't see me. And I was like, what? I have eyes.
It don't work like that, but yes, that's what they do.
I go walking like a couple times a week at least, and I try, I walk on these paths, and sometimes you'll see a deer, and I don't know why it feels so magical when they're not scared of you. I don't know why. Like it's like, oh, he's not gonna run from me, but at a certain proximity, it then turns back to scary for me. We're like, all right, man. You should go ahead and back up. We don't know each other, dear.
I don't mess with no strange deer. I see deer, I start running.
As opposed to the ones of course.
That's right. That's right. Because they'll fuck your cars up.
When I look at a deer, the thing I'm most concerned about is that they're covered in ticks with Lyme disease. That's why I stay.
Oh no!
Yeah, they're the main traveler. That's why.
So it's not like a Snow White at all.
No, it's not.
No, but they're delicious. Moving on. So I was saying that the country, like where I grew up, seems like what I thought the South was. And it's kind of like you're confirming it by saying, yeah, the South is everywhere. You just have to. It's not like we didn't see Confederate flags and, pickup trucks and all of the culture that I thought was similar to the South. And so when I've learned about and been in the South and had arguments about it, or when people talk about Southern culture, I'm always like, I don't think it's that different from upstate New York, rural farm hunting land culture. The music, the traditions, religion, like I don't think it's that much different. We have different relationships with weather.
The other thing is politically, I don't want to run from the fight that like my ancestors have been fighting. My parents have fought. I feel like I have as much claim to this. Like we're in a purple state now that has been being forced to be a red state. And I feel like abandoning ship just gives up the state. And there's a chance to fight for these places and come back. And I think sometimes when we talk nationally, because everybody gets into like just presidential elections, when we talk nationally, people forget that like, hey man, the South is not a place that should just be a given. Almost every red state in the South is just a state that has the black vote suppressed. And like, if it wasn't suppressed, it would suddenly become a blue state if you weren't gerrymandering everything.
Writing all these crazy rules.
Yeah. If there was more access, if there weren't obstacles in the way, and if the districts weren't gerrymandered, and if it was an honest democratic outcome, and I would maybe argue if black folks, especially in this case, or liberals, you could say, would vote in higher numbers. Can I add that one? Then the outcome.
I mean,
where I live.
And it's that self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Because I know Black people in the South that have given up on voting, but they've given up because of how many obstacles they face. And they're just like, well, it's never going to work because of this stuff. And sheer numbers, if you just allow turnout to happen, I believe you would see that reflection come up. I mean, you even see it in like the Democratic primary. Like Black people show up for that because they're like, this will count.
Yeah.
You know, like even as like, I know people from outside of these states get frustrated, but it's like, that's when they know it's not rigged. And they're like, okay, I can have a say in my voice.
Right. And also I think for me, the thing is the Black women are like the number one voting populace. Yeah. Like we come out to vote. And the thing is, we always vote for survival. A lot of people don't have to vote for survival, so they can do all this theory shit now because they're not voting for their lives. I'm not trying to be funny. They're voting for other shit that's irrelevant to, I might die tomorrow. My family member might die tomorrow. We might lose food stamps. We might the situation is a little different. And before, when you were talking about when you talk to people down here, I think a lot of people down here hold like a chip on their chest because I know for me personally, sometimes you get tired of other people just saying, y'all ain't shit, you're down south. You talk slow, you're ignorant, you're dumb because you're down south. You be like, when they do national scores, everybody scores terrible.
I feel all those stereotypes are fairly accurate. Not about you guys.
Well, where is Donald Trump from? What part of the South? New York City. Oh, my bad. Not the president. Only.
Listen, I mean, if you want to like name one at a time, I'm talking about the aggregate population of a region. Couple things. It's interesting that you say I want to stay here and fight. Some people are leaving you're talking about in North Carolina. Some people are leaving the country. It's also interesting that you say, the motivation for Black folks to vote. The point made, of course, about Black women and survival, I think is really well said. It's like, I'm trying to survive, not regulate my 401k or, get lower premiums in my healthcare. All that would be nice. Right. Everybody wants that, but it's about survival. But the other thing is that you mentioned is the kind of cynicism around Black voters, who are just disenchanted with the system. And when I've run into whether I was out trying to, get this is where it happens the most when you're trying to get people to register to vote. And I was in like a Black area, trying to get people to register to vote. And just so many Black people like, are you kidding me? Maybe it's because me holding the clipboard, which would be fair. But it was always like, what have they, what has politicians ever done for me? They're nothing but liars. And I was just like, I'm not arguing with a Black man.
You're not going to win that argument.
No, I'm not.
The thing for me is like,
fair enough.
The numbers wise, we exist in this weird space where like number wise in America, there's not enough of us to completely shift the vote, right? So even if you got 100% turnout, it's 13% of the population. And it's the only part of our population where people look at it like, why wasn't it 100% that voted Democrat every time? Like every other population gets a little bit of like, well, we got 60% of the Latino women. That's good. But with Black people, it's like not 90% of the Black men. What's going on? I think one of the major problems with,
sorry to interrupt you as you're talking about
90%. Yeah.
But Black women, it's like 80-90% Democrat. It would,
yes, and they've actually lost ground the second time Trump run, like the small percentage, but that speaks to America.
Yeah, that speaks to the country as a totality.
But the thing for me that I think hurts our political apparatus and our media apparatus, we spend way too much time concentrating on the few Black people that aren't going to come vote for Democrats or whatever. It's inexorbitant compared to the amount of effect they have on the election. The amount of times I've turned on MSNBC and it's like Charlemagne the God, and they're like, how come Black people not? And I'm like, that guy's not a politician.
Right.
This segment feels kind of like some bullshit. And it feels like we've already given up ground in other places where we might be able to see ground, like with white men. We've decided that demographic's never coming and we should not even work for that. And we definitely don't admonish people, right? White women, 53% of the vote goes to Trump. We don't admonish that group on the news like, hey, man, Let's have some white women on and talk about the white women vote. You know, it just feels kind of weird that it just keeps coming down to us.
My new show, Why White Women Vote, by the way, is about to launch.
Hey, look, no one else is doing it.
Right, a whole lane.
White lady voters. I've got binders full of names of white, ready to roll out and focus group them.
Yeah.
Go
to the Instagram. White woman, a white woman Instagram. They're out there, boy.
Oh yeah, I've seen them. They might get fed to me on my algorithm. I might be into them. What's wrong with me? If you really want to know about a person, don't look at their social media feed. Look at their internet history. It's now time for the segment in my show that I'm just inventing right now called Rod and Karen's Internet History. I'd like you to both tell me what we would find if we looked about your boring life. Because so much boredom, like so much of the shit that is in my internet history would bore you to tears. Or it would embarrass, obviously, too, whether it be a celebrity thing or a sexual thing or something else. But a lot of it is just boring, but that's why we would never share it. So it's now time for both of you to share something mundane or amazing from your internet history that you last searched.
I already know the last thing that I searched was how to fix our ceiling fan, but which is not fixed.
Willing your shelf. That's a tough home improvement because you got to be on that. You'll be looking up. You'll be leaning back and looking up. A lot of the time you got to hold one hand, and it's a hard one-person job. It's even harder to make that video on YouTube, to hold the camera while you're trying to give instructions. But that's impressive. Fail or just
and the video's never what you're going through. Like he just was like, oh, first of all, you just flip the lid like this. I was like, well, if I could fucking do that, I wouldn't need to look up the video. Clearly my lid is not one of these lids.
You hard to find. Did you?
But I think my biggest search thing is for internet history is probably Reddit, which is the best place to look for pornography. So then I'll go on Reddit and just be like, oh, it's big brown areolas or something like that.
You go find
join that group. And I think, honestly, it's healthier than being on Twitter and Threads and Blue Sky. I feel like that was fucking with my mental health way harder than just being like, there's some boobs. All right. Appreciate you, ma'am. Thumbs up. And I'm out.
By the way, my other new show, my other sponsor, Big Brown Areolas, is got to do a live read if you could just stay with me. Okay, Karen, your turn.
Right. I am very boring. I love Secret by Beyonce. So I've been trying to find a good sale on her on her hair products.
Oh, Sacred. Yeah.
Sacred. I'm sorry. I said Secret, but Sacred.
It's spelled weird with a C. It's not your fault.
Okay. Sacred. And so I've been Googling and looking for sales on her stuff. And also Christmas time is coming. So I've been looking for me, and I found it at the Hornets game. Was at the Hornets game. Drink, for those of you that know, was at the Hornets game. And people were wearing like headbands that kind of blinked. So I wanted me a headband to blink for Christmas. So that's been my boring life.
I like both of them. You got the Hornets are an NBA basketball team, in case anybody didn't know.
Correct.
Yes.
And they're in North Carolina. They must be a pretty big deal because I don't think there's not too many pro teams down there.
Yeah, we've had them since '88. Mm-hmm. They left for a little bit and came back, but it's a big deal for us. We're season ticket holders, so we love basketball, and we go to all the games. Yeah, we use all our tickets. It's fun.
Yep, I've loved the Hornets since I was a kid. I was 9 years old when they came here, and they have been my team ever since. Same thing with the Panthers. I didn't have an NFL team, and most people did down here. It was Redskins, Cowboys, like other places before the Panthers came down here. So the Panthers are my football team.
Big sports people as well, Rod and Karen.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited to have you guys with us in Las Vegas in April. It's my understanding from listening to your show, and if people watching now or listening haven't checked it out, theblackguywhotips.com. You can find it anywhere you find your podcasts. You can support them in all the ways. But you guys have never been to Vegas, is my understanding.
Never been to Vegas, man.
Mm-hmm. Always heard about it.
Yeah,
but
this
never
is so
been.
weird. Like the podcast has taken me more places in my life than like any professional career I've
Right.
had.
Washington, California,
Yeah.
places that I would have never went otherwise.
And Vegas is like, I can clearly say without even being there, I don't think I'm a Vegas guy. Meaning I'm an introvert. I'm low key. I don't like, it's not like, let's get fucking drunk, man. See some titties.
I don't
like,
gamble. So
Yeah.
for me, if I go like, oh, I want to see the, I would go see the shows. Oh, let's go see the show.
But this is like the perfect way to go is my point, is like, oh, cool. We're doing some podcasting. So we'll have something to do for sure. We're going to be around some like-minded people.
Yes.
And, it'll be in Vegas, so I can check it off on my list of like, I've been to Vegas, and then people will be like, so did you take the helicopter tour to the city? It's like, no, that's crazy.
No.
Why would I do
Why
that?
would I do that?
That seems like a wealthy person thing too. I know it's not. I mean, people can afford a tourist helicopter. People do it all the time, but it just seems like a terrible choice to me. But so does building a city in the middle of the desert. I'm just telling you, Vegas is a terrible place.
That's what I hear mixed reviews on it.
People that live there, they fucking love it and they'll defend it, and I will never stop attacking it. Our friends who are hosting us are amazing people. There are a lot of amazing people that live out there, but it doesn't. I can't be phony just because these are amazing people.
You gotta keep it real.
You're paying me to come. I can't be like, oh, I love Vegas. I don't like gambling. I don't like drawing energy sources to the middle of the desert. If I see green grass and a golf club, course in the middle of the desert, I'm like, that shouldn't be here. Shouldn't be here.
That's abnormal.
All the lights that, now they have the sphere. Have you seen pictures of this?
I've seen pictures of it. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about though, right, Karen?
That big ass. Yeah, it's huge.
Thing, yeah.
It looks like, as a nerd, it looks super cool for like the 2 minutes it's doing stuff, where like, it's the new. It is always doing stuff.
You see it when you fly in, and you see it's a really crazy thing to see. What's hilarious though is when we were out there last year, my friend, longtime listener Nick Martino, he was in the car, the back seat, and we were driving into Vegas, and you see this giant ball of light, and he goes, "Oh man, is that the sphere?"
You're like, no.
I was like, no, the moon landed, you fucking idiot.
Yeah. If it's not,
what is that like?
If it's not the sphere, man, we're fucked, right?
If it's a UFO, we all in trouble.
It's like the invasion has started, dude.
It's too late now.
Do we even want to land?
Dead.
Like, turn this shit around.
Why are we here?
I think it looks cool because every time I've seen it, it's been like, here's a Marvel movie or some shit. I've never seen it, what it's just doing on a Tuesday, which I imagine if you live there must suck.
I'm very much connected to nature. I'm very into sustainability and conservation, environmentalism. It's a huge part of my life. It's a huge part of my work. I think about how much I consume. It's always on my mind. If I'm driving in a car with a combustible engine, I got solar panels in my house, an electric car. I still eat a lot of meat, so that's my main. But I think about it a lot. So I'm always thinking about how much energy something draws. And so that's why I hate Vegas most. Not only the energy, but the water, but the thing, and I want to ask you this to move the ball along a little bit. The other thing that irks me, and I haven't ranted this year yet, and I do it every year, and plenty of reasons, but again, the main one is the energy component, is inflatable lawn ornaments. It started with Christmas. Now every holiday, people are blowing things up and keeping them blown up all day long. That's electricity blowing that air in. I don't know that it uses more electricity than lights do to decorate. But I think they're so hokey, so tacky, so ugly, and such a waste of energy. And I want to find out if this is a divisive issue between us.
It's not for me. I've never decorated like that. My parents never did it either.
Homeowners?
No, we're renters. My parents have owned homes my whole life, and they never did it. And in my neighborhood, there wasn't a lot of people who did it. But I think down here it's a class thing.
Yeah.
So, because I walk in a part of town that I could never afford to live in, and all the time, it's like they're having a contest. It's not just one house on the block. It's like, oh, you got the inflatable, wacky, waving arm tube, man? Okay, well, now I got Rudolph and I got Santa. They're actually on the roof.
And
they're
then,
animatronic.
Yeah, then somebody does the Cam Newton nod and be like, well, I'm going to bring lightning from the sky.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Each time they just want to outdo each other on the street.
It's crazy, man. The other day I was walking through that neighborhood and for the first time I saw like, and I was like, I kind of felt bad for the rich people that lived there for a second because it was like crazy geeked out Christmas, Confederate flag, crazy geeked out Christmas. I was just like, oh, that Confederate flag guy is really fucking up the motif.
At least put some lights on your flag. Come on, get in the spirit.
Somebody just put a video. I just saw somebody post a video that there was like 5 houses on a cul-de-sac and they all had the same giant inflatable Santa, like really big. And then the 5th house was a black one. Same one. You know, you could just say, I like to take walks in a neighborhood I could never live in. It sounds like what you're trying to do is you're trying to set up a poor, wealthy white person to confront you so that you can get a lawsuit or whatever, or go viral when you start taping him.
Listen,
you shouldn't be walking in that neighborhood. You don't live there. And hello, excuse me.
People say, people say that, you're out here walking for they say you're walking out here for your health. And I mean, that's good. I am trying to turn over a new leaf, but I'm honestly walking, hoping to hit the racism lottery, guys. If I can just get one Karen, just one, it only take one, and I can start the GoFundMe right away. I already got the GoFundMe set up. I just got to hit enter just the specific details of like, oh, Christmas Karen says get off her lawn.
Right. And I'm upset that they tarnished the name Karen, particularly when it started first happening. I started my own campaign, Take Karen Back. Y'all ruining the name.
Yeah, that is tough. You should change your name now. At this point, there's no hope left.
Yeah, it's over. We went to New York and they had the M&M store.
Oh, I was mad.
And we were they have certain gear that's just like, oh, Bob or whatever, Peter, I'm sure your name's on a lot of stuff. No Karens. They had 0 Karens in New York City, the M&M store. I was like, that's a choice.
Yeah.
That was a choice that someone at corporate said, we're out of the Karen business.
We're out of the Karen game. I was like, this is the most common name. What is happening here?
I don't know.
With a Y or E, nothing.
I don't know exactly how to describe the shade that you so lightly put upon me. If it was just my name is unoriginal or it's just white, but you're like, I'm sure Pete's on everything. I'm like, hey.
Why not both?
Yeah, Rod, his name be on everything too.
Now, let me ask you this. So you talk about setting up the GoFundMe because someone's done something horribly racist to you, but we now have learned that if something horribly racist happens to a black person or a person of color or a gay person, and you set up the GoFundMe, sure, they get money. But it is nothing like dropping an N-word and getting canceled or getting fired from your job at the petrol factory.
They go for the gold.
Should we get into some kind of a deal, arrangement, the 3 of us?
We'll split it.
You be racist and then we receive the racism and then we both get GoFundMe. Here's the thing. I don't want you to get canceled and then ruin like your credibility. So I think
the money is worth it. I'll get if I do some real racist shit, I'll get like $10 billion.
You'll be set for life.
But then you gotta you gotta live with that, meaning when you go to Whole Foods, they like, oh, that's the racist dude. I think we can invert it. I think we can be racist to you and still be cool in all the circles we live in. And then you can be the real victim, because what happens now is the racists play the victim, but we've never had an actual white victim of racism in these viral things. I wonder if you could make more money as an actual victim of people being racist.
It's an intriguing thought. It would help preserve my reputation. You are right. But I just don't think you're listening. Have you seen the money? I could get my
it's crazy.
Redone.
I see what you're saying. You don't want to take the risk.
I'm on an island with a new face.
That's what I'm talking about.
And by the way, it's just me on that island and hundreds of beautiful black people. That's how it's beautiful black people in the world, the coolest, funniest, most talented, and me. I'm like, yay!
I'm with you because you know what? While I'm looking at this filet mignon I'm about to cook, I don't hear your criticism.
I just feel like it's a risk reward system. I'm proposing something that we don't know will work. And I'm guessing that it'll be the most lucrative form of this viral disaster shit. But I could be 100% wrong. We get nothing. All our reputations are fucked. And Pete's playing it safe. Like, no, we go with the tried and true. I go racist. You guys receive the racism. We get rich. I see you.
Have you had any issues walking through that neighborhood?
Nah. Low key, man, I kind of feel like during the pandemic, something broke in people.
Wearing a full suit, necktie.
Yeah. This is my bow tie that I always wear when I walk down the street.
This is where I live.
I feel like during the pandemic, we saw too much of each other through the internet, and it made it seem like black person walks in the neighborhood, something racist happens to them every day or whatever. And it's more like it's like the racist lightning strike. You know what I mean? Black people we do a lot of stuff. I live in a city that's majority black. Like, it could happen, but it's not a thing that crosses my mind. The most awkward it gets for me is if I wear a shirt that says something like slavery was bad, just so you know, or something, and I'm walking through the park. I'll get the awkward look away white people, and then I get the awkward solidarity white people. That's the most awkward it ever gets. It never gets racist, it gets racial.
Will you attempt to explain the white man, black man nod?
It's kind of complicated, though. I don't know if we have enough time. It's when I'm walking, I feel like I try to mirror the person coming my way. Okay,
yeah, I meet their energy. Yeah,
I try to meet the energy. I do recognize I'm a man. People would rather see a bear. Some circles. Like, I don't know what the fuck's happening in everybody's mind. I don't want to cause any disturbance. I just want to walk. But I think white people like this move, the grimace on the face, head down nod, like
sir,
affirmative or whatever.
What is that? Do all white men do that to you? Do some white men do that?
The vast majority of them hit me with them.
They do.
I don't know why.
Just like you acknowledge.
It's like the I Dream of Jeannie. Just the boom. There you go.
I do believe it's a gender thing. I think it's a man thing, the nod. Karen, are you getting, I don't nod. I nod, I do it. Just to be clear, I was waiting to see what you thought of it before I admitted that I think I do it exclusively to black men, and I think something happened to me in college. I do.
Now, why do you do this one and not this one? Because I feel like if you do this one, I know you cool.
Yeah, up.
Like I'm like, oh no, that dude gets it. He knows.
Because most of us go up.
For people just listening, Rod is really cocking his head all the way back at a very exaggerated swivel down. And if someone did that to me, I'd go, that guy's a psycho. I'd look away if someone did that to me.
See, that's how we know if you know the recipe.
I guess I'm not all
the
way.
Like, one out of every 400 white dudes hit me with that, and I'd be like,
you know what? I'm not doing fuck both of you. This is what happens. I've seen this trick before. You challenge a black person on something they're saying because you've never seen or heard it before. It's like when I was in college and I asked my friend, a black man, I said, why do you have a cat? And he said, black people don't have cats. And I was like, what?
What?
And then I asked
hilarious.
And then I told another black person that they didn't have cats, and they said I was racist. And they were right because he was fucking with me, which is why this whole head nod thing.
I think I'm trying to get you.
Oh, he's not trying to get you. I promise you, baby.
Some guys can look at me and be like, what the hell? Kind of a fucking
be safe. You know what? Honestly, be safe. I think you should stick with this. That's safe. But
that's fundamental.
I'm just saying, if you hit people with that joint,
all right.
The only way I think someone will be offended is more like how dare he know the secret head nod? That's not who taught him that.
They would look at you.
I think I would get in trouble if you did that. I think they would be like, "Excuse me, sir, who taught you that?" And then I get a letter.
They were like, "Excuse me, sir, who invited you to the cookout? Where you get your ticket? Can I have validation? Who stamped this?"
I carry my stamps. I carry my recommendations and my stamps. I have a link. I have a QR code. Here's my favorite. Here's the best story to explain that I've been invited to the barbecue is I was invited to the barbecue It started at 4. I showed up at 4.
Oh,
they had me work. I put the grill
Yeah.
together.
That's what happens when you show up early.
Hours later was the first person who came. I was like, "What? I showed up on time." And they put me to work, and that was my first experience. I figured it out after
my
that.
brother,
oh baby, you ain't know.
My brother just hosted Christmas at his house for the first time. He's in an interracial relationship, and they were like, we're gonna start at 3. And I told I was like, Rodney,
the white family,
the white family is like, we're starting at 3, and I'm like, man, it's no way.
They not gonna start showing up at 6.
Since I knew how it was gonna go, I made sure that me and Karen showed up at 3, even though we would never do that any other holiday. Cause I was like, I don't want you to be like the only black person from our family there for like 2 to 3 hours, and they're gonna keep asking. So when's your mom getting here? Hey, is your brother still coming? Because they don't know that we're just coming at 7.
Yeah, I was like, oh, they coming. They was like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, I am positive that they will show up. Now, what the time is another thing.
Your brother's wife's family invited you to Christmas. That's
they know what's up. They're Italian, so I feel like they can still cook.
Yeah, and the food was delicious, and they did start on time.
So like it was like no problem getting there at 3. I was like, the food gonna be here. Like I'll be full when my mama get here. I'm gonna be like, I'm ready to take a nap.
My second plate.
Did they do anything well intentioned but unnecessary? How much did they talk about the black people they know? You know,
man,
Rod.
honestly, none. I was surprised.
Okay, yeah. All right, we're getting better.
But to their credit, they kind of steeped in the. They're just like good solid earth people, but they're kind of steeped in like the being around black people. They were like a military family, and they can go
one way or the
other. And they went the other way, the way of like, listen, everybody's just here to do a job. We're all, and so I can get along with them, and they get along with us. So we had a great time. They were fun.
You guys talk a lot of politics on your show. How would you describe your politics? I think you identify as progressives. Is there a person, a candidate, or an issue or an idea that better labels what you believe, or that we could?
I would say we're mainstream progressive, but I think that's kind of where the Democratic Party is, and we're not too much left of where the Democratic Party is. Like, it's not that we can't be stirred to the left, but it's more like, that's good, but I think it's because the country has gone so right. That's why we're pragmatic. And I think a big part of that is us being from the South.
Yes.
We always are practicing pragmatism. We don't have any like socialist candidates. We don't have any Mamdanis. Not that we wouldn't vote for them, but just literally we've always had to be like, she's close enough. I guess she can be mayor. That's fine.
Yeah, and also the thing here, when you live in certain parts of the country, you're not worried about a perfect candidate. And so when people talk about perfect candidate, for me personally, that shit drives me motherfucking insane. There's no such thing. Stop it, y'all. And so for me, when you start taking out my age and how long I voted and things like that, I try to base myself in reality. And also, I am a Democrat, and I will be proud to say I'm a Democrat, because now people try to run away from that. No, I'm not running away from it. One side has decided that they don't want to run shit. Well, then we only have 2 parties, and everybody go, well, we need a third party. I've been alive long enough. Y'all have had time to start the shit. You're not going to start it. It's never going to come. So it's either choice A or choice B.
Yeah.
I like the way I've heard you describe what's wrong with the Republican Party a lot of times, Karen, and I like very much that your criticism is that Republicans don't know how to govern because they hate government. And I think it's such a crucial point for people to understand. Democrats are flawed and government is flawed, but you need government, and you want your government to function and be without corruption. And if you've got a better idea, I'd love to hear it. But the better idea isn't
I love to
take
hear
everything that is in the public's interest and privatize it, from public transportation, education to the police department or everything else. They want to privatize everything. They want to monetize everything, capitalize on everything. And they don't want to actually govern, and they don't care about the public interest, and they put profit over people. And it's a completely different ideology. I feel like I'm singing your chorus because I've heard you say those kinds of things a lot.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it's hard for people to understand because I say it with such conviction. And I think a lot of times when people talk about politics, particularly in open platforms, they don't want to be quote unquote pinned down. They don't want to be labeled. Yeah. They don't want all these negative things that come with it. That's a part of the process. Like for me, because I've been doing this for so long, I'm like, that's a part of the process. So like I said, you're not going to make me back down. You're not going to scare me.
Also, everybody would respond to like a fighter instinct from Democrats. I don't think people are going to respond to, man, if we can just go to utopia. It's like, no, I want you to fight this shit now. I need you like when Chuck Schumer compromised in the Senate, it was like, no, that's not what
you want.
Like, and I do understand, like, that's a difficult choice. It's very easy for me to say, I don't walk past the officers not getting paid on my way into the, but the sentiment and what drove people to out in this last election, this off-cycle election, a lot of that was like, we see you guys fighting. Mm-hmm. And I just think whatever your values are, you should fight. I heard all the discussions after Kamala lost, and it was, oh man, we got to let the trans stuff go. We got to let some. I disagree. I think people will rally behind you if you fight for it. If you say, actually, we're not letting that go. We are right. We will be proven right. And if you have a fucking problem with that, we're not going to be the party for you. But if you're a person that's been sitting out going, man, these guys don't fight enough, you will get off your ass and go, okay, that's what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Republicans have taken the social issues and like subverted them and made it be like, no, if the only real way to talk in public about social issues is to be against shit. It's like, no. It's okay to be like, I don't want to compromise on this.
Right.
This is a non-starter for me. I want Gavin Newsom not to say, maybe we'll get some trans rights. I want to be like, we're going to fucking get it if you elect me. And we're going to get all this other stuff that people care about too. I think that's a stronger impulse. And we try to convey that on our show is like, be forthright and fight for what you want as opposed to like always apologizing and compromising and talking yourself out of it or acting like you're trying to get a toddler to eat, like, hey, would you like some rights? Is that okay? No, fucking, we're going to go get them for you. Let's go.
Right. And I guess I grew up in the age where when it comes to politics, your feelings were quote unquote important, but what was most important was the results. And so too many people are wrapped up in their feelings and their emotions, and they lose sight of the bigger picture. They would rather look good losing than to look messy winning, because it's a messy process. And so I'm like, the results are winning, because guess what? When we lose, I got to hear your bitch ass whine and complain about us fucking losing when you didn't do what you were supposed to do. You sat there and did nothing. And so for me, and I guess that's why I have such strong emotional feelings about this, because I am tired of, particularly on the Democrat side, the whining, the complaining, the fussing, the inside bickering. Because I tell people, you know what the Republicans did? They lost Roe v. Wade. They fought for 50 years to turn that motherfucker over. They fought. But the second something breezes past, or you don't like the way somebody says something, I got to look at you whine and cry and flop and fall out online. You're not built for this.
Not built for it. A lot of people aren't. A lot of people are soft and they quit and they're apathetic, and life is just maybe a little too easy, and they don't often just understand the root of a lot of the problems. I think I think you're so right about what you talk about wanting to fight her. I think that's why what put Mamdani on the map. He literally fought against ISIS. He was fighting and shoving and pushing immigration agents, and that went viral. And they showed him literally fighting. I think it's true of people like Jasmine Crockett at a oversight committee hearing, or AOC, or so many others. Jamie Raskin is such a fighter. Even James McGovern, who I knew back in the day, I never thought he was going to be a leader of the party, and such a tough guy. He is. And I think there's a lot of fighters. I think Senator Chris Murphy is really good and smart. So I think there's a lot of Democrats that are doing great work, but I think we need more people that are willing to step and fight. I think Gavin Newsom fights a lot. I know a lot of listeners of mine think, well, dark energy. They don't trust him. But J.B. Pritzker.
Right. Yes. Man, love him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
the other thing too, like of the party, like those people are represented in the party for sure. But the thing about politics is that those guys are still looking at the way the wind blows. If you want bold, progressive Democrats, you just got to put more in office.
Yep.
Then the fake ones who are just like, man, I just don't want to lose my job, they'll go be fake progressive. Whenever there's a conservative majority, you got motherfuckers being fake conservatives where you're like, you didn't run on that. Those aren't your values. But you're talking like that now because you're looking where the wind blows and you're like, I'm going to just go over here. So even the coward Democrats that people hate will slide over and pretend to be bold when they have those numbers.
Don't you think the wind is blowing in the direction of a far more progressive, and I would argue mostly because of young folks across the country?
Right now it is. Yeah, because the economy that they're living in, and I don't blame them for being mad and upset and demanding more. Because for the first time, most young people ignore this shit until they get in like their 30s. But for the first time, they can't find jobs. They graduating with a bunch of debt. Biden tried to get everybody's shit wiped out, and then the Supreme Court said no. And if they're paying any attention, I understand their anger.
Meanwhile, we're bailing out farmers whose markets we killed. We're bailing out is Argentina because they want to keep that currency value. It's got a lot of people invested. I mean, like they're handing out money. They're pardoning the worst people.
Yeah.
What's worse than, man. I mean, outside of a violent crime, and even a violent crime, like you could recover from a violent crime if you weren't killed. I got beat up a couple times in the street. It was my fault. I started it. But either way, it's true. Guy asked me for money. I was like, I don't have any money. And he said something mean to me. And I was like, why don't you come over here and say that? And you know why? He came over and he punched me in the face. And I was like, ow.
And you're like, I said, say it. Now speak with your mouth,
not your fist.
Why don't you come over here and say that? When a man says that, it means let's fight. And he came over.
You just tell him you're a literalist. You know, like, no, let's have a debate of the heart and mind.
Yes.
I'm a literalist, sir.
You're like, why don't you just quote some Shakespeare? I don't know, because he just wanted cigarettes. So I think the larger point I was making was that I forget now.
Something about people wanting to fight, and I think we all agree there that we all do want fighters, and we all. The other thing too, I think, is a lot of times people are young people this last election. A lot of them were like going for Trump in numbers we hadn't seen before.
True.
And unfortunately, it feels like there's a cycle of like humanity. It's like you had to fuck around because now those same numbers are skewed towards Democrats. And I'm like, the numbers aren't skewed towards Democrats because, Democrats had such great policies. It's because you learn like, there's no bottom to this Republican thing. This isn't going to stop at a certain place and then be like, well, no, you'll be fine. It's going to fuck us all. And I think that a lot of people learned that lesson last time. And I am always a little nervous about these pushback elections, though, because it has to be sustainable.
Right.
So
everybody's got a lot of that concern from people all across. It's got to be sustainable, or else the backlash, the white lash, whatever you want to call it, is that much worse. Like, we get a real effective fascist as opposed to the dumbest one ever. And man, is he the dumbest.
Yeah, and Trump is a result of that backlash from Obama, actually. And people don't want to believe that, but I think a lot of this goes all the way back to Obama because Trump felt insulted when he went and they picked on him, and he's had that man on his list ever since.
I agree with that too, for sure. For sure. He is a vengeful guy and super racist, obviously. And so he's going to hit back that much harder if it's a person of color or a woman or something insulting him. But I don't think the backlash, I don't think Obama was a candidate that is an example of what we're talking about here, where you're saying we need a real progressive because we get some corporate Democrat light, we're going to get something worse. And I think that's true. But just going back to Obama, like he was the best we could do during that cycle, I think.
He was also, I think the revisionism on Obama is funny because at the time, that's what progressive was.
Yeah, that's what progressive
Like at the time, it was like, yo, this dude's a little fucking out there with some of the shit he's saying. Like it was like I remember one of his things was not anti-war. Like we need to get out of the war and it's like the war on fucking terror that everyone agreed to vote for. What the fuck is this guy talking about? But enough time passed that was the correct position that had been the crazy position a few years ago. And so like at that time, that felt progressive. In 2025, I don't think that would feel as progressive to people now.
I think having covered for SiriusXM and CNN both of his terms and covering Congress, I think that knowing what bills the House passed that got killed in the Senate because of the filibuster, and knowing how it's an anti-democratic body and not deliberative. If you looked at how progressive those bills were that Nancy Pelosi's passed out of the House during Obama's first term, on everything, on almost everything, on guns, they did do something about guns, just couldn't get passed through the Senate. They did do something on immigration, couldn't get passed through the Senate, even with Republican votes. They did do something on the environment, cap and trade. A lot of progressive bills passed. It's a couple of Senate's votes away because of that stupid body and Joe Lieberman, Connecticut, and the health insurance industry, and a couple of others, Joe Manchin, as well.
And of course the obstruction, and of course the obstructionism, right? Because as we say that, we are also sort of excusing the Republicans from governing. Because what used to happen is maybe you don't get every Democrat, but you do get a couple Republicans, so you pass the thing. They decided at that point, and it's been like that since.
We're not governing.
Fuck that. 0 of us are crossing the line.
Right.
And if you cross the line, you pay the price. And that is something that I want Democrats to take now. Like, I need that energy now. Hakeem Jeffries got his people in line. So shout out to him because it was looking real shaky for him. But when the vote results come in, he keep having everyone show up. Chuck Schumer, dog, what the fuck, bro?
Right.
Like you uphold your end. If they have the numbers that if Republicans want to do this shit, they can do it without us.
They can do it.
Force them to do the shit without us and stop being complicit.
Force them to do it.
Yeah, I'm a ageist when it comes to public service.
You want old people gone?
Yeah, no, I mean, if you're over a certain age and it's clear you're not effective, like there should be no question. I think Bernie Sanders is, an exception. He's really old, but still seems to be very effective and have a lot of energy and doesn't mess up. He stays on message and stuff. But a lot of these other people, Nancy Pelosi.
I think people say that about the ones they don't like. But to me, it's just effectiveness. Right. Well, I think it's the effectiveness because like Nancy Pelosi was effective as fuck.
No, I'm saying all old people are not equal. Don't get me wrong. But I'm also saying even the effective ones should be replaced by young, very effective Max Frost looking people.
I'd like to see that. My problem is that, and this is a cop out that I think too many young people are making. Go fucking take it.
That's my thing.
Why are we waiting for them? I'm fucking sick of that. Like,
take it out my old
Nancy Pelosi she won't quit. Like, then fucking go beat her.
Right.
That's what the election is. We're the only party that has free democratic elections. Mom Donnie is the energy that I'm talking about. It wasn't like the Democrats won't give it to me. Go fucking take it. Yeah, there's no amount of money they can put into an election that can change how you are going to vote. There's no commercial you're going to see and be like, shit, I wasn't transphobic before, but fuck it. I guess I got to go Trump. It's not a money thing. It's a fucking get on the ground, beat them at their game thing. And I would primary every motherfucker. I wish everybody went through primaries every time because we should be having a litany of choices where we get to pick the one that best represents us.
I agree.
And I think we get a more representative democracy that way. But I feel like we give up when we are like, you should quit because you're old. No, we should fire your ass because you're old as voters. That's what our job is.
Yep, because I'm going to tell you one thing. One day I'm going to get old, bitch, and I'm going to tell you one thing. You want my job, you better punch me in the face and take that motherfucker. I'm not giving you shit, young people.
Yeah, I'm still going to be talking shit when I'm old, too. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to be more progressive than some of these young people, too. I'm going to be like, fuck it. They don't know how to get the job done. Come take it from me. And if you take it, you win. That's the rite of passage. I'm glad LeBron James ain't retiring. Wembanyama should come through and kick his ass, and then we're like, you know who's the GOAT now? Wemby. Why? Because he fucking took out LeBron. That's how it's supposed to go.
Right.
That's why I think our side's not that tough. We keep waiting for shit to just like work out for us, and we're not fighting.
Wemby is a sports person.
Yes, he's a basketball player for the Spurs.
Yeah.
I'm not. What are you into? What are you into, Pete? Movies?
So I'm into a lot of things, but I can't talk about a lot of things. Somebody was requesting that I ask you about TVs and movies, shows, because you guys do this a lot in your podcast. We won't be doing that here. And the reason for that is I'm self-aware enough to know that I can't talk about everything. And I've never been good at talking about art and entertainment.
Okay.
I'm a comedian. I can't talk about comedy. I love TV and movies. I don't talk about it. I don't think I have anything really to offer. I don't think my attention span is long enough. Like, I don't think about it. I just watch it. I love watching it.
Wow.
If you
wait, you just talk about politics all the time.
No, not just politics. I talk about anything that is impactful in your life. So psychology and philosophy and parenting and health and environment, things that are adjacent to politics for sure. I definitely talk about a lot more politics than ever before because it's so relevant in our lives, unfortunately.
Right.
But,
Agreed.
I'll interview. Basically, my standard is I talk about issues that impact a lot of people with really smart people who know a lot more than I do. And so when I'm talking about, so I just don't talk about things that aren't kind of life and death, super consequential. Right. I should more, and I'd like to do a little bit more fun segments like I was telling you guys, and we should do them together, just about things that are happening, trends and culture, and yes, TV, movies, but I don't have anything to offer. It's not interesting.
Well, my thing is, what I'm trying to think of is the analogy, right? Because I use LeBron and Wemby, but if I knew what you were into, I could be like, oh no, it's like if Diana Summers came through and did such and such a way. Like it's like if Thanos did blank, but I have no reference now. Music. Okay, all right. So music wise,
no. Like how about this? Downhill, women's downhill skiing. Go ahead, Rada.
Okay, all right. It's Lindsey Vonn is
huge comeback, guys.
Which is still sports somehow.
No, I just know where
sports ball.
I like to listen to other people talk about these things for sure. But yeah, I just don't partake because I don't want to, especially if I have a microphone and a camera in my face. I'm like, I got nothing that is important that will enrich you on this. But you guys love it. And
that's dope. That's a type of humility we do not see anymore.
Because everybody got to have all the answers. And you're like, sometimes I just don't know.
I feel like I turn on TikTok and it's just my friends giving opinions about shit they don't have any say in. I'm just like, I guess we're doing that.
My whole thing is finding smart, credible sources, specifically people that I can talk to on the show and communicate that way. And I love that. That's what I've been doing my whole career. And
we don't do that anymore either.
No, we do not.
There's a real depth of expertise, and you make one mistake as if you have one bad experience, or if it's not perfect, then it's a conspiracy. And there's a lot that's been written about the death of expertise. And people's lack of, COVID just killed so many things. And now look who.
And critical thinking is the most important to me. For some reason, that just, I've been looking at people go, you do not think critically at all.
But do you ever think about you could have been a rich podcaster. You could have been the biggest podcaster if you kind of did away with that. If you were just get rid of expertise and you just ask open-ended questions and just pretend and don't take any of it in.
No, nothing. Take nothing in now.
You could be rich.
I couldn't, but I wouldn't be rich because that's not how I measure wealth. I would be poor. I would be empty. I would be purposeless. I would be a liar. And even if I could do that, I couldn't do it. I couldn't fake that.
I'm starting to believe that we're not going to do that GoFundMe plan we started with. I'm starting to feel
I think that's falling through.
Doing it. I just found two other black people to do it. I don't trust you two. I think. I think I'll do my part. I'll do my part. And I have no idea.
Volunteers.
It's me.
It's fucked up. It's fucked up, but you might be right. I feel like if the black delegation called me to the side, I'm like, was this a plan so y'all can raise GoFundMe money? I'm like, I've never heard this man in my life.